Okay, and then the next set of story problems. These are a little bit more complicated. The equation's given to you, but the work's going to be a little harder. The profit P in millions of dollars of a manufacturer of iPods can be modeled by the equation P equals negative 4x to the third power plus 12x to the second power plus 16x. X represents the number of MP3 players produced in millions. Currently, the company produces 3 million MP3 players and makes a profit of $48 million. What lesser number of MP3 players could be sold for the same profit? So again, write the equation they gave you. P equals, write it kind of small because you're going to need room on these problems. P equals negative 4x to the third power plus 12x to the second power plus 16x. Now we're looking for replacement values. Okay, now there's two replacement values here. There's 3 million MP3 players, so 3 million. And I'm going to put MP3. And there's $48 million. Now, these replacement values actually go in for each variable, okay? The P is replaced with the money that they make. That's what a profit is. So I'll pull 48. And then the 3 is the number of products they're selling, so that goes in for your X variable. Okay, so I put 48 equals negative 4 parentheses 3 to the third plus 12 parentheses 3 to the second plus 16 parentheses 3. Now what you need to do at this point is plug this side into the equation and make sure it equals 48. Just make sure. So negative 4 parentheses 3 to the third power plus 12 parentheses 3 to the second power plus 16 parentheses 3. 48. Good. Now what I need to do at this point is I want to keep my profit at $48 million, but I want to see if maybe I can make a lesser number of MP3 players, because it'll be the same profit because I will not sell as many, but I won't spend as much to make the MP3 players. So the profit will remain the same at 48. Now all these 3's turn back into X's. Okay, and we need to solve for X, and there are 3 answers for X because it's to the third power. And we already know what one of the answers is. What's the number I just had in for the X? 3. So 3. And you notice how it says million, but I just use these values right here. I don't need to put millions in. Okay, so since I have X to all these different powers, I'm going to need a 0. So I get rid of the 48, and I subtract that behind everything. And now I'm going to go to my synthetic division, okay? Because I have one of my answers already, so I have my divisor, 3. 3 is the first answer, so 3 is my divisor. And then my dividend is negative 4, 12, 16, and negative 48. So again, you drop the first value down. You find the product of that and 3, so it's going to be negative 12. Add, you get 0, but you have to keep going to the end. So the product is 0 and 3 is 0. 16. 16 times 3 is 48, and that's 0. Okay, now again, when you synthetically divide, what happens to the negative 4? It goes from x to the third to x to the second, plus, and then x plus equals 0. Now, since I have 0x, I can take that out. And since I have x squared only, I can isolate x squared. Okay, so I need to undo the plus 16 by minusing 16. That would be negative 16. And then I divide by negative 4. And then I undo the second power by finding the square root. So x equals, because those undo each other, a square root could be a positive or a negative value. And the square root of 4, 4 is on the list, and that's 2. So 2 and negative 2, and those are your three answers. But if you have a negative, you want to cross that out, because that's not a viable solution. So what lesser number of MP3 players could be sold? You could, well, we already know there's 3 million. You could also sell 2 million. Just put million next to it. Okay, I got 3 more of these just to get the hang of it. Okay, the profit in millions of dollars for a t-shirt manufacturer can be modeled by P equals negative 1x to the third plus 4x to the second plus x, and that'd be a 1x, where x is a number of t-shirts produced in millions. Currently, the company produces 4 million t-shirts and makes a profit of $4 million. What lesser number of t-shirts could the company produce and make the same profit? So again, they give me my equation right here. And I need to write it and then make a replacement value box over here. Now there are 2 replacement values. We have 4 million t-shirts. So 4 mil t-shirts. And then there's another replacement value of $4 million. Because right now they're selling 4 million t-shirts for $4 million. You need to put the money amount in for P. Don't put 4. Just put 4. Okay. We want to. So I'm going to put 4 here. And then the other 4 is the X. So that's the product you're selling. Okay. So 4 equals negative 1 parentheses 4 to the third plus 4 parentheses 4 to the second plus 1 parentheses 4. Now plug that expression into your calculator and just make sure that that it actually is an equation that works. It third plus 4. Yep, it is. Okay, so then that equals 4. Now I want to keep my profit at $4 million, okay? But I want to find different x's that might equal 4. And there are 3 solutions for x because you have a third power. And we already have one of the answers. What's the number I just had in for x that gave me equals 4? 4. Okay, now since we have multiple powers of x, we need to make clear one side of the equation, and that just doesn't have a like term. And then we're going to use synthetic division because I have one answer already of 4. And my dividend is negative 1, positive 4, positive 1, and negative 4. So I drop the negative 1. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Add. You get 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Add, you get 1. 1 times 4 is 4. And that's 0. Okay, so the negative 1 goes from x to the third to x to the second plus 0x plus the constant. You can take out the 0x, and that's good because now I can just isolate the x squared. So negative 1x squared equals negative 1 divided by negative 1. And x to the second equals 1. And then I find the square root of 1. And 1's a perfect square. That's 1. But it could be positive or negative. So 1 and negative 1. Cross out the negative, and the X is what we're selling. So we're selling t-shirts, and they're in millions, so 4 million T and 1 million T. Okay, next problem. One of the costs to print novels can be modeled by the equation C equals X to the third minus 10X to the second plus 28X, where X is a number of novels produced in thousands. The company prints 5,000 novels at a cost of $15,000. What other numbers of novels produce the same amount? Okay, so write the equation down. Instead of P, it's C. It's fine. It's the same thing. Put a 1 in front of the X to the third, and then plus 28X. Okay, replacement value. Okay, we'll have 5,000 novels, so 5,000 novels. And we have $15,000, so 15,000. All right, you want to put your money in for the variable that is isolated over here. Okay, so we're going to put 15 in for that, and then we're going to replace all the X's with 5. Okay, so 15 equals 1 parentheses 5 to the third minus 10 parentheses 5 to the second plus 28 parentheses 5. Now make sure that that equation is actually true. 1 parentheses 5 to the third minus 10 parentheses 5 to the second plus 28 parentheses 5. Okay, it is 15. So I want to keep the cost at $15,000, but I want to find different X's here that could make the equation equal to 15. So these go back to X. So there are 3 solutions. Clear the 15 through subtraction. Now it goes here. And now to find the other 2, since we have our first answer, we know we have an answer of 5. Okay, we can use the synthetic division, and 5 is going to be the divisor. So 1, negative 10, positive 28, and negative 15. So I drop the 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Add. You get negative 5. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. You add. That's 3. And 3 times 5 is 15, and you get 0. Now this one's not quite as quick because the 1x to the second minus 5x plus 3 equals 0. Well, now I can't isolate x squared because we have a 5x, so I need to, the 3 terms, I need to go to my GCF and T. Okay, GCF, negative in front, nope. X on everything, nope. 1, 5, and 3 is 1, so nothing going on there. A, B, C. Take the A times the C, so 1 times 3, that's 3. Positive. Sum of 5. Well, 1 and 3 are the only factors of 3, and those don't make a sum of 5, so that's a fail. Alright, so I need to use a quadratic formula. So the opposite of the B is 5. The square root, parentheses to the second, minus 3 parentheses in a row. And I know a 4 goes here. So the B is negative 5. The A is 1. The C is 3. And then on bottom I have the product of 2 and the A, which is 1. So I have 5. 2 times 1 is 2. And we need to figure the square root out. So second square root, double it. And we have negative 5 to the second, minus 4, 1, and 3. 3.6. Okay. So, since there's no I can add 5 plus 3.6 equals divided by 2 is 4.3. And 5 minus 3.6 divided by 2 is 0.7. Okay, so remember, X represents the product you're selling, and they're in thousands. So 5, just put K next to it. That's what 1,000 means. Some K novels. And they're all positive, so those are all viable solutions. 5,000 novels, 4,300 novels, and 700 novels. Because 0.7 is less than a full 1,000. Okay. The profit P in millions of dollars for a shoe manufacturer can be modeled by the equation P equals negative 21x to the third plus 0x plus 46x. X is a number of shoes produced in millions. The company now produces 1 million shoes and makes a profit of $25 million. They want to cut back on their production, so they want to make the same profit. They just want to produce less shoes, because even though they won't sell as many, it won't cost them as much to make them. That's how business works. What lesser number of shoes will yield the same profit? Okay, write the equation. Replacement. There are two replacement values. We have 1 million shoes, 1 mil shoes, and $25 million. Again, the money is always the P. So 25, and all these X's will be replaced with 1. So now conduct the replacement. So you have 25 negative 21 parentheses 1 to the third plus 0 parentheses 1 to the, oh sorry, the 0 should have a second power. Sorry, I missed that. The 0, the X, the 0's X should be to the second power. Plus 46 and then 1. Okay, now I still want to make sure that equation works. Negative 21 parentheses 1 to the third plus 0 parentheses 1 to the second plus 46 parentheses 1, and indeed they are making 25 million. So I still want to keep the P at 25 million, but I want to find different X's that can make 25 million. So the X has 3 solutions, and one of them we are already aware of. We are already aware of that X is 1. So you need to move the 25 over. And now you use your synthetic division. Why do we use that instead of the factoring? Well, to begin with, well, because I already know one answer. So I have a divisor. So I have negative 21, 0. Positive 46 and negative 25. So I drop negative 21 and I find the product of negative 21 and 1, that's negative 21. Negative 21. Negative 21 times 1 is negative 21. That's 25. 25 times 1 is 25. That's 0. So the negative 21 goes from an X to the third to an X to the second, minus 21X plus 25 equals 0. Okay, now again, you can't isolate the X squared because there's an X that goes with it. So again, you need to use your factoring process with the 3 terms, GCF and T. GCF, negative in front, nope. You got X on everything, nope. Oh, you do have a negative in front, I'm sorry, so negative. The GCF for 21, 21, 25 is 1, so I need to factor out a negative 1. And then I divide by negative 1. So it goes to positive 21, X to the second, Negative 21 divided by negative 1 is positive 21, so plus 21x. 25 divided by negative 1 is negative 25, so minus 25. (21) times negative 25 is the A times C. Okay, negative 525. Remember what I always say. If you get a number in the hundreds, just go to the quadratic formula. Don't waste time. Just put fail and move on. So the opposite of the B is negative 21. Plus or minus, parentheses to the second, minus 3 parentheses in a row. And I have a 4 here. So B is 21. A is 21. And C is negative 25. And then in the denominator, you have the product of the 2 and the A. So I have negative 21. Plug that square root into your calculator. Second square root, double it. 21 to the second minus 4. 21. Negative 25, and that's 50.4. And the product on the bottom, 2 times 21 is 42. Okay, so negative 21 plus 50.4 equals, divide by 42, 0.7. Negative 21 minus 50.4. Divide by 42, negative 1.7. And eliminate the negative. And what's the product you were selling? You're selling shoes, and they were in millions. So mill, shoes, mill, shoes. So 1 million shoes we already knew, and then 700,000 shoes.